And we can use the magic of writing to and we can use the magic of writing to and we can use the magic of writing to and we can use the magic of writing to and we can use the magic of writing to send our thoughts to friends in any part of the world. Yet each of us started out where little children start, by drawing pictures. And these childish drawings are only a little different from the picture writing of many thousands of years ago. This ancient picture writing, scratched with a bit of flint on a piece of slate, tells of a battle with a mammoth. Picture writing did well enough for recording a simple fact, but it could never be used for a clear expression of a thought or an idea. While some people were still recording events with pictures, the ancient Egyptians developed a form of writing called hieroglyphic that was capable of expressing everything that could be told by the spoken word. The Egyptians also wrote in pictures, but now each picture stood for the sound of a syllable. This was a big improvement, and it was made practical for everyday use by improved tools for writing, the reed brush and the polished papyrus upon which they wrote. But the papyrus, from which we get our word paper, was very expensive, and the reed brush wore out quickly and had to be replaced. This kind of writing was slow, because each character had to be carefully drawn. It was also hard to read and write, because so many different pictures were needed to express every syllable in the language. With the passage of time, the Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. And from the surrounding desert, they hired the Seerites to help with this mining. The Seerites found it was necessary to keep accounts of the work they did and the pay that was due them. But Egyptian writing was much too complicated. So, probably with the help of a friendly Egyptian scribe, the Seerites developed the world's first pure alphabet.
It was the first rail link between Tibet and the rest of China. Experts say the railway has helped reduce high transportation costs of bending the float of gold in China and South Asian nations and the colors of the rainbow.
But according to Al Jazeera English, the train will do more than carry tourists.
The new train line that links Tibet to the rest of China
that shows no gray of
as
color
well as tourists.
and precious
This place is largest change last time and the whole Tibet immeasurably. It's the new freight station. Construction materials like this used to be trucked across the Himalayas and processed
because in order to develop a
now
gray
they
of
can get
color
here in less
within
than
an
48 hours.
the spheroids must be about the same size in order to be a completely periodic pattern.
The treasure includes over $54 billion worth of timber already extracted from China.
This unique structure is the reason for the fabulous and somewhat magical bright colors
China's
never
state-run
seen
oil
in any other
exploration
gemstone.
company says the buildup of the Tibet Railway has made it a lot easier to transport equipment and other necessary exploration resources to the region.
Building boom has reached even this remote corner of the Chinese Empire. But if you look at the workers, many are Han Chinese, not Tibetan. The businesses that are opening are not homegrown. Tibetans are losing out, and some say the Chinese government investment is just a subtle form of control.
They're using the Olympics to showcase happy Tibetan as an ethnic minority of China where they're benefiting and prospering under Chinese rule. That's simply not true. And that was a great
Their first
disservice
letter was a crudely drawn head of an ox. In their language, an ox was called an elk, which we spell A-L-P-H. And so this picture stood for the sound of A. Their second letter was drawn in the form of a courtyard for a house, which they called Bet, spelled B-E-T. So this letter was given the sound of our letter B. From the Seerite names of these two letters, Alph and Bet, came our word alphabet. There isn't much resemblance here to our A and B, but in just a minute you'll see what happened to change them. Business needs caused the beginning of the first alphabet, and business activity caused the alphabet to spread. The Phoenicians, descendants of the Seerites, were the traveling salesmen of their day.
China forced wheat over in 1950. In 2006, China
Crystal debris consists of
Tibet.
trillions of microscopically small silicon
The
dioxide
Tibet Autonomous
spheroids
Region has
that are
seen
stacked
its
up on
foreign
top of each
trade
other
rise
like
by
infinitely tiny little pearls.
75% to reach $322 million since the opening of the Qinghai-Tibet Railway. The railway is the first rail link between Tibet and the rest
The
of
Egyptians
China.
went to a nearby
Experts say
land to
the
mine
railway
copper
has
and
helped
semi-precious
reduce
gems.
high
The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems.
Businesses that are opening are not homegrown. Tibetans are losing out, and some say the Chinese government investment is just a subtle form of control.
They're using the Olympics to showcase happy Tibetan as an ethnic minority of China where they're benefiting and prospering under Chinese rule, and it's simply not true. And that does a great disservice to the cause of Tibetan
mine
freedom and
copper
human
and
rights.
semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and semi-precious gems. The Egyptians went to a nearby land to mine copper and
fundamental
semi-precious
rights
gems.
to determine their future.
As the Chinese Olympics approach,